Welcome to the Dwig America podcast. And now your host, Todd Dwiggins.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening. Welcome to the Dwig America podcast. I'm your host, Todd Dwiggins, coming to you live from the Dwig America studios in beautiful Central Texas. I love saying come to you live because this is all recorded, but still, it makes me feel like you're here and I'm talking to someone personally. So anyway, welcome. Happy New Year to one and all. Excuse me, I'm going to make some adjustments here. So on today's podcast, just like a lot of people do, let's talk about New Year's resolutions. And let's talk about, I'm going to talk about a little bit about my approach to New Year's resolutions. So here we go. One thing that has worked for me in the past is to not make what's called SMART goals as my resolutions. So SMART goals are a goal that is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So what I like to do is I like to start with a broader principle for the year that I want to live by or something I want to change, improve, but it's a little broader. It's not something that if after a couple of days I miss or don't do as well on that I'm like, well, that's it. Resolution's ruined. Forget it. I'll start next year. So like a diet, someone say, oh, I messed up my diet, so I'm done. So this is a principle I want to live by. So for instance, 2017 was a big year of changes for our family. So a broad goal we had actually as a family was to be more positive. And what does that mean? What does that even look like? What does being more positive look like? Well, for us, it was looking for the positive or the good in any situation. So whether waiting in line at the DMV for your license that takes forever, or just any situation that may throw us for a loop. Again, we were moving, a lot of changes. My wife was gone for a few months, away for some training. So very stressful. And we decided, you know what, instead of worrying about all these things that are negatives and stressful and not things that we necessarily like, we would look for the positives. And so when we got together as a family, we took that time to enjoy one another's company and we did fun things. And when we were apart, we just looked at, what we could do to make it a good situation while we were apart. And that really helped us get through the year. It helped us going with the flow. Whatever happened, you just kind of say, you know what, let's just go with it. And we noticed a big difference in how we felt individually and how our home felt. And it just really helped us get through a stressful year. Well, in 2018, I don't know about my family, but I know individually, I don't think I was as purposeful in choosing something like a principle like that to live by. And I don't know if you'd say I abandoned being positive, but I just wasn't as focused on it. And I can say I felt a little more out of sorts, just a little more down, not as, I don't know what the word to use here is. Just I didn't feel as good, as excited and such. So for 2019, as I've thought about it, I've kind of wondered, well, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? I thought, I'm going to take that positivity from 2017 and then adding to it a broader principle of maybe becoming more of the person I think I should be, really getting more moving towards my potential of who I think I should be as a person. So that means I'm purposely going to try to improve basically all the aspects of my life, just look at different aspects of my life. And then taking those SMART goals and finding ways that I can improve in the new year and something that I won't just give up on after a few days, a few weeks, or a few months. So these SMART goals are small. There's things I can change in small ways, and then that will make a greater improvement. So with that being positive and such. So transitioning kind of from that topic, I can say that my new year actually didn't start off on the right foot, literally. So a few days ago, about a week ago, so the 2nd or maybe it was the 3rd. I think it was a week ago Thursday. Whatever, doesn't matter. So I think like on the 3rd of January, I'm at home. My wife is at work, and I'm going to make supper for everybody. And I thought, you know what's fun is making French bread pizzas, and I'm getting the ingredients out, getting everything set up to make these pizzas. I have a cutting board out to cut the French bread into sections, and the French bread is kind of on the back part of the counter. So I reach over and grab the bread. Somehow, as I grab the bread and I'm kind of leaning over the counter a little bit, I knock the cutting board, and it's kind of this heavy, thick plastic cutting board. But I knock it, and it comes down guillotine style, and the edge of it, which is tapered, kind of like an arrow kind of tapered, hits directly on my left foot, on my toe, right below the nail, not the big toenail, but the next one to the big toenail, so kind of like the pointer finger of your toes, right under the nail on the left side. And I thought I'd cut my toe off. It hurt so bad. My kids were like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I was hobbling around the kitchen, and they could tell I was in a lot of pain. And it's as close as I've come to just crying as an adult over pain. It hurt so bad. And I went and laid on the bed and face down and just tried to put some pressure on the foot to get it to stop hurting, and it wouldn't. And I took the sock off because I was just wearing socks. And it looked like I scratched it, or, just kind of cut. I didn't really see blood. It just looked like a little scratch, like the skin was kind of, cut. I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't bleeding or anything, but it looked like it had been scratched at least. So anyway, I'm like, why is this hurting so bad? And so I put the sock back on, hobbled around, went back like a champion. I finished the pizzas up. They were delicious, by the way. So I do it. I come back. I take the sock off, and now the upper part of the toe is black and blue. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I've done this before. I've jammed up my toes enough times that, I've just jammed this up really bad. But it hurt so bad. And I've jammed my toes. I've kicked like 5-10-pound weights with my bare feet before and bruised them up. And it's just a tradition I think I do about every year. So I bust up my toes. So anyway, but this hurt for like an excessive amount of time. And it was a lot more pain than I've ever had before when I've knocked my toes. So anyway, I kept looking at it, and it got darker and darker. Finally, it looked like my whole toe was dead. It was that disgusting and dark. And so my wife suggested Thursday night, I'll go to the urgent care. And I'm like, no, I've done this before. It's fine. I wrapped it up and everything. And then Friday, it looked terrible. And Saturday, it still looked terrible. And then the bruise started moving below the toe. And my wife called the nurse line, what was it, Friday or Saturday? And they're like, yeah, you better go get checked because, there's all these complications can happen with your toes. So finally, Sunday morning, I'm like, I give up. I will go check on this. So I went in to the urgent care. And I went Sunday morning because I thought it's probably the quietest time they're going to have at these urgent cares. It's not a Friday night or a Saturday, which can get a little crazy for my friends that have been ER docs. But anyway, so I go on Sunday because I figured it's quieter, and it was. And they x-ray it, and the only thing I'll say about the doctor there is he didn't even touch my foot or look. He just kind of came in and glanced at it after the nurse looked me over. And he's like, yeah, I'll look at your x-ray. So he comes back and he goes, yeah, it's broke. And then he left, and I didn't see him again. So I broke the tip of my toe, basically, and there's not much you can do with broken toes. So they wrap it up, buddy taped it is what they call it. And off we go with a broken toe. So it's going to be like that for the next several weeks, all wrapped up. And so it's usually okay. I mean, the last couple of days have been okay. But if I walk around too much, it just feels like my foot gets real hot and like a stinging kind of pain. So I'm still not able to get on my feet a whole lot, but it is what it is. So this is going to be a short podcast today, not a lot, or shorter than normal. Not a lot, but I just wanted to say Happy New Year. And again, if you want to make SMART goals for your resolutions, that's a great idea. But again, my alternate take, maybe just think about maybe something you want to improve, generally speaking, and work on that for the year. So with that, thanks for listening to the Dwig America podcast and for liking and sharing. I'm basically just doing this on YouTube now. I haven't found a good format that works for me, and I'll just stick with that for now. So until next time, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. Have a great year. Until next time, so long, everybody.